Shalom, Yasharallah. This your brother Dawada from GMS St. Petersburg, Florida, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise unto Yahawah, Bahashem, YAHAWASHI, Bahashem, Archa Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of great MILLSTONE that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. All right, so I want to continue on in basically this little series of why Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, is the devil. All right, so we're gonna start out here. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3. It says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things, and now you know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed at this time." All right, talking about the damn devil being revealed, the so-called white man. All right, or we've always known who the so-called white man was, and we always knew that there was a devil, right? But we couldn't put two and two together. They was the same people. All right, so it says, verse 6, and you know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. For yet the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom Yahweh shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. All right, let me keep reading. It says, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan. Salakia. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders. All right, so this is what we're talking about. The so-called white man is coming after all the workings of Satan, with all power, all signs, and all lying wonders. All right, with all deceivableness and unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. All right, so the devil is coming in all these different ways, you know. So if you was to say, like the cartoon character of the devil, you know, all the little things, that all his traits or whatever, whatnot, he's bad, evil, adverse against the Most High, whatever, whatnot. All these things are exactly the description of the so-called white man. This is who he is to the T. All right. This is what he is to the core. This is what he was created for, to be the wicked. All right. It says, verse 11, and for this cause, the Most High shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they might be damned, that all might be damned who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. All right. So again, the Most High pretty much had these, hey, you don't want to come to this here truth. You want to keep believing in the damn devil. That's it. You're going to wind up believing in, how do I say? Let me just reread that again. It says, and for this cause, the Most High shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie. All right. Because why? You don't want to believe in the truth. Let me read verse 12, that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but have pleasure in unrighteousness. Hey, you want to walk hand in hand with the so-called devil, the white man, or the so-called white man, the devil, Esau, Edom. All right, the Most High going to give you over to keep following and worshiping after him. All right, but nevertheless, continuing on, we're going to go to the book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24. All right, it says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? All right. So this is the setup here. You know, we read this quite a bit, you know. So first we was reading about how the damn devil was going to be revealed. All right. Who's coming in all deceivableness and lying wonders and everything like that. All right. Here it says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. All right. So let's compare the wicked to somebody coming after the workings of Satan. You know, they pretty much in the same basket. Right. Then it says, now let me just jump over to cover the faces part. It says, if not, where and who is he? All right. Now, if you want to just look at, you know, the, how do I say, the characteristics of the devil. All right. And look around the planet Earth and see who that is around the planet Earth. All right. It's the so-called white man. And if it's not the white man, then who is he? Who else is outdoing the so-called white man when it comes to wickedness? All right. There's nobody, not a single race of people collectively. All right, that has outdone the so-called white man in wickedness. This is a prime example. The fact that he can go and put sanctions on all these other nations. You see him saying, letting you know that he is the head honcho in charge. All right, he's the damn devil. All right, but it says he covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? All right, covering the faces of the judges. Who are the judges? Starting with the Most High, YAHAWASHI, all the saints, the prophets. You know what I'm saying? All the images that you see, modern days today, they're so-called white people, right? The picture and the image that you see of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ is a so-called white man. All right, it's painted like a so-called white man with blonde hair and blue eyes. All right, and you know, going back to what Serapis, Cesare Borgia. All right, all these different renditions. All right, but nevertheless, they sitting over here covering up the faces, and not only that, they're denying that we are the children of the Most High, the real Hebrew Israelites. They want to call us black Hebrew Israelites as if we're some kind of imposter or something like that. All right. And themselves don't even call themselves the Israelites. They call themselves the Israelis and Jewish. All right. Pertaining. It's like if I call you girl-ish or brown-ish, it's not quite brown. You see what I'm saying? But nevertheless, these people here are the same people who is got the whole earth in the palm of their hands. Not only that, they covered all the faces of all the judges, whitewashed all the scriptures and all these different things. All right. And this is one of the things that our people struggle with. You know, a lot of our people, you know, the ones that's wise enough not to be to realize that there's some fuckery going on in those harlot houses, those churches. All right. Some of them are wise enough to see that, but then they get fed up and be like, you know what? The Bible is the white man's book. I can't understand why you in the white man's book, the white man's book. Well, probably because you was, you know, learning. First and foremost, it wasn't given unto you to understand it. All right. Only the 144,000 is going to be able to understand that in the 1/3. All right. So when you go, Revelation, what is that? Revelation, 5, Yahushua is the only one that can open those seals. All right. Now, when you go to Revelation 14, you know what I'm saying? They had a song that no man could learn, but the 144,000. All right. But nevertheless, you have these so-called white people. All right. That was, teaching and bringing down so-called religion unto us. All right. And so our people would think, you know, because of like we reading here, the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the face of the judges. So when you growing up and you go to church, just like how I was when I was growing up and going to church, every church I went into, there was always a picture of a so-called white man that we thought was who the world only calls Jesus Christ. All right. So we was always bowing down to him and all these different things like that. All right. So the so-called white man is the one that put up all these different things into our churches and into our minds. This is why our people would think that it's a book written by the so-called white man, but they don't have the understanding that wasn't given to them from the Most High to understand that this book is condemning the so-called white man. All right. This book here is the most, how I can say, the most adverse to the so-called white man. This is the most dangerous thing to the so-called white man's existence. All right. In this here book, besides the Most High. All right. Because of the fact of what inside this book, it exposed exactly who he is, that he's the damn devil. All right. The damn devil. And, let me see, where's that at? Let me get another precept. This is 2 Corinthians 11 and 13. It says, for such are false apostles, deceitful workers, transforming themselves into apostles of Hamashiach, or who the world calls Jesus Christ, right? So if you have false apostles or false prophets, false men of the Lord, you know, in these churches, misguiding and misleading people, all right, that's something the damn devil would do, all right? Verse 14, and no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers also being transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their work. All right. So again, the devil and his damn minions, they all transform themselves into what? The angels of light. All right. Don't get too caught up in the transformed and all that, thinking it's something like that. No, basically they didn't hijack the shit and they lying to you. You know, that's like if I had it in my mind to let's say harm dogs, right? You know what I'm saying? I would, and I didn't want people to, I wouldn't set up a shop, say, hey, look, I want to harm your dog. Come bring your dog to me. Nobody gonna bring their dog to you. Right. So you, like, they got the thing, if I was the devil, look that up. That's the same analogy I'm giving. But if I wanted to harm your dog and be deceitful about it, I would be like, look, we giving free dog grooming, free vet visits, free this, free that for the dog. Bring your dog on down. We just want to take care of your dog and this and that. People will come down there bringing their dog thinking they're going to get something good for them. All right. Because why? You cloaked yourself in so-called righteousness or as a helping hand to them. All right. So like I said, you can go on YouTube and look up that video. I believe it was by Paul Harvey. If I was the devil, you know, he would go in there. He would say, if I was the devil, I would hijack the church. I will hijack the school. From there, you could teach, you know what I'm saying? Because what you think the last place you think you're going to get lied to is in the school, right? You go to school to learn the so-called truth, right? So that's the perfect place to be spreading lies from. That's what they do in these colleges and things, right? Same way that they do in these here churches. They go and hijack the church, and then they, how do I say, put so much shit on the church's name, more or less to say, that, you know what I'm saying, even though you might find out that they wicked, you don't even want to go back and re-examine, you know, if they was telling you the truth about the so-called, well, about the truth. You see what I'm saying? Because they'll go in and mess your mind up so bad into the church or whatever, whatnot, where our people be like, oh, no, that's the white man book. You still worried about that book, so on and so forth. But yet this here book is still talking about things that's relevant today. One example is the RFID chip, the RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast. All right, which that technology has not been around before this here time period on the planet Earth. All right, in order for us to have that in the way that it is now. All right, so therefore, also the ICBM thermonuclear missiles. All right. So these things here are still so-called taking Gog and Magog. That hadn't taken place yet. All right. So we hadn't been put back into our land and our taken out of our captivity. We don't have the rest of the nations in captivity yet. So these are future prophecies that hadn't come to pass yet. But the so-called white man, you know, will have our people believing that it's a book that's not related to today's times, but yet we live in these times. All right. But what? The devil didn't hijack the damn system and masquerading, you know, he didn't put on the what they call the little Pope suit or whatever, whatnot, and just masquerading as if, you know, got the Bible in his hand. Oh, we righteous, we this, and that, you know, just like the money changers in YAHAWASHI's time when he came in, who was went up into the temple and seen the money changers or whatever, whatnot. They turned the Father's house into a den of thieves. All right, they was cloaked as something righteous and everything else, but they was fleecing the flock. Same with the damn devil. All right, let me read this again. It says, verse 4, 2 Corinthians 11 and 14. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. All right, so who, you know, if we was to go into our so-called religion, for lack of a better terms and things like that, who's at the head of all of that? It's the damn devil, the so-called white man, Esau, Edom. All right, he covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, who and where is he? Who's all the judges, the Most High, his son, the angels, and everybody else painted and portrayed as? It's not the Chinese man. It's not the Arab man. It's not nobody else, but the so-called white man. All right. The so-called white man did all these things. All right. And he even got the audacity to only whitewash the images here in America. Because when you go into Europe and all those different places, like over where the Pope is and in Rome and all that, they all, but like here you have that image of what they call the Virgin Mary and child or whatever, where it's the mother and child, I think they call it. Nevertheless, when we see that image over here, these are white images. All right. Now, I believe you can go on Google and type that in, the mother and child, or the virgin mother and child. I can't think of what the name of the portrait is called, but nevertheless, you can type that in and you'll find all the pictures that you see here in America. It's the white image, all right, of a white woman with a white child. Now, if you was to go and you type in the Black Madonna, all right, that you would get the same image, but these are the actual real images. They're actual dark images. All right. They're a likeness of so-called black people. All right. The Pope himself. All right. You can look that up. Type in Google search on images, the Pope and the Black Madonna. All right. The Pope and the Black Madonna. You'll see him bowing down to this idol and his statue and all these different things and so on and so forth. Now, we're not supposed to be bowing down to no idols and nothing like that. Not saying that, oh, because they got the right color when they know. What I'm saying is the fact of only over here in America, all right, for the most part, do they have this so-called whitewashed image. But everywhere else around the world, well, where Jake is at, you know, here in the Americas, North, Central, and South, they have these white images. But in Europe and the rest of the places, all right, all these places, they all have dark images. All right, you can go and look up type in Google Russian icons. All right, you can type in Russian icons in YouTube, not YouTube, but Google search, and you'll see all the images that you would normally see of all the saints and like Moses and all of them, Joseph, all of them. You'll see pictures of all of them, but the original pictures before they was all whitewashed. All right, they were all black images. All right, but nevertheless, this is something that the so-called white man has done throughout time and time again. All right, so it's not really strange for when our people be bucking up, because again, the so-called white man, the devil, came in and took over this and just fully corrupted it. All right, now our people don't want nothing to do with it, but yet and still, that was the how do I say, the workings of the damn devil. You know, our people are like, oh, this is the white man's book, the white man's religion, but yet this here book is condemning him. But the book also has his name and his number in there, showing you exactly what he would be doing. Like, You know, it's not nothing far-fetched that white man that you go into that church and you bow down to worship is the damn devil. All right, it's nothing far-fetched in that. That's written in the scriptures. If you was to actually read the scriptures with the understanding and the spirit and the power of YAHAWASHI, you would clearly see that all these things are in the scriptures. So it's not no marvel. You wouldn't be caught off guard like, oh yeah, you know, it's not nothing strange to me that when you walk into a church, you see that white man on the cross, like, yeah, that's the devil. Well, what you mean? That's the son of God. No, nigga, that's the devil. That likeness and that image, that is of the devil. That's blasphemy. He didn't look like that. All right. That's the so-called white man's rendition. All right. So let me continue on. Let me read that again. 2 Corinthians 11:14. And no marvel, for Satan himself transformed into an angel of light. Going back to that Ezekiel 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the face of the judges thereof. All right. Now let me go into well, let me grab another precept before I go on that. This is Ezekiel 36, I think, verse 1 or 2. Ezekiel 36, 2. Yep. This is Ezekiel 36 and 2. It says, thus saith Yahweh power, because the enemy, who is our enemy? Our top enemy is Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Thus saith Yahweh power, because the enemy have said against you, aha, even the ancient high places are in our possessions. All right. So they've taken up our ancient high places. All right. And how do you say like the temple and things like that? They didn't came into our land in Israel and things like that, defiling the land and all these different things. Not only that, they come into our heritage and our nationality, talking about who we are, or who they're taking on our customs, more or less to say. All right. They've taken on our identity and all these different things. All right. Talking about they're the children of Israel and so on and so forth. You know, God gave us this land. He made a promise to our forefathers for this here land, and the whole world have to abide by that. Now, what if the real people, the real claimants of that land actually said that? He'd be like, oh, God doesn't exist. You guys are delusional. But see, this only works in your favor. You see what I'm saying? But nevertheless, let me continue on. This is First Maccabees chapter 1. I'm gonna start at verse 41. It says, moreover, now let me give you a backdrop. Now I said that the earth in Job 9:24, it says the earth was given into the hand of the wicked, right? This is First Maccabees 1:1. It says, and it happened. What happened? Long story short, that earth was given into the hand of the wicked. All right. Now you can read here. This is where Alexander the Greek, or Alexander the Macedonian, actually where he was at, from Macedonia. All right, took over Greece. All right, and then took over the known earth at that point in time. All right, then he had his 12 general, or his 4 generals. All right, that he wound up. Let me read verse 7. Well, verse 6. First Maccabees 1:6. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. Talking about Alexander. So Alexander reigned 12 years, then died, and his servants bare rule everyone in his place. And after his death, all they put crowns upon themselves, so that their sons many years after. And their sons after them many years, and evils was multiplied on the earth. So this is the damn wicked. The wicked seed being spread forth, and they was multiplying in the earth. All right, this is when they started coming out the woodwork. All right, now Alexander split his kingdom into 4 different kingdoms. All right, or gave it to 4 different generals, so they got 4 different kingdoms. So now we're gonna fast forward down to one of these new kings. All right, one of his generals. First Maccabees 1 and verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. All right, same thing that Esau Edom is doing today with this new world order. All right, that he want to have one world government, one world religion, one world military, whatever, whatnot. So everybody's serving and worshiping him. It says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many of the Israelites consented to his religion. Slacky, give me 1 second. Let me go back. First Maccabees 1 and 43. Yea, many of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. So verse 42 goes back into these heathen. They all consented to the king's law. Hey, that's not us. We was commanded to follow out the YAHAWASHI. But where the problem came in was verse 43, where it says, yea, many of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. All right. For the king has sent letters. For the king has sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land. This is that conversion going on, all right? Where, you talk about, oh, the so-called white man, this is that, the so-called white man gave you this, so-called white man gave you that. Well, when you really look into it all the way through, all right, the so-called white man didn't give us this here Bible. If anything, the so-called white man is trying to take this Bible away from us and give us his bullshit religions, all right? One of the things that he thought he could get away with was like, all right, fuck it. If we can't get rid of the Bible, we'll give them the Bible, but we'll create a whole story inside the story. You see what I'm saying? To make it completely different. Like how Jesus is born. First of all, Jesus is his name, where the letter J was just brought up not that long ago. Second of all, Jesus don't got no skin color. He a spirit and everything. He was born on Christmas. He came to save everybody. The law's done away with. You know what I'm saying? He'll sit down and eat some pork with you. You see what I'm saying? And Jesus he hate the sin, but he loved the sinner. So, he's sitting down at the table with some homosexual Edomites eating pork. I'm talking about some y'all finna be in the kingdom today. You see what I'm saying? They didn't hijack the whole story that was already there and pretty much rewrote it. All right. Knowing good and well that none of these things are in the scriptures like that. All right. Even in our churches today, these so-called black people churches today, they'll tell you that the law is done away with, but they tell you to pay tithes. You see what I'm saying? When it comes to pork, all the law is done away with, but yet you can, you got to pay tithes, all the law is done away with, but you can't be stealing and robbing. Well, wait a minute. This is still part of the law. How you going to say keep part of the law, but not the parts of the laws that you don't want? All right. But nevertheless, continuing on, verse 46, verse 45, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifices and drink offerings in the temple, that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days and pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swan's flesh and unclean beasts. So they set up altars and groves and chapels of idols. What does that sound like? They putting up all these damn churches in all of our neighborhoods and so on and so forth. All these different things. We weren't supposed to have all these different things, all right? And sacrificing swan's flesh and unclean beasts. All right, now what are we over here doing? Following after the so-called white man, eating all this pork and everything like that, because he got pork in every damn thing, all right? This is the reason why they did these things, all right? This is showing you why Esau Edom, the so-called white man, is the devil. All right. Verse 48, that they should leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanliness and profanation. Like, yo, you fucking with the children. You trying to make the kids grow up so that their souls be walking abominations. Just like in today's times now, where the kids don't know no better, but before they could even know anything, before they could learn their address, before they can learn their phone number, before they can learn, you know what I'm saying, who the president of the United States is, they learn what? How to have gay sex in school nowadays, that they could be anything that they want to be, like a boy could be a girl or whatever, whatnot. You teaching all these different things into all this sexual perversion for these kids at these such young ages. For what reason? So when they get older, they'll be the forefront of the civilization, pushing forth more and more of these here laws, more and more of this wickedness. So if you kept raising up righteous people, every time when the righteous people were getting positions of powers, they would just put forth righteousness, more or less to say. But if you raise up people in wickedness already, or raise somebody up wrong, if you raise a kid up teaching them that 1 + 5 is 27, right? If this child believed that 1 + 5 is 27 their whole entire life, when they get older as an adult and they go to teach their kids math, when they come to that problem, 1 + 5, what do you think they're going to give the answer to their child is? They're going to go back and teach their child that the answer is 25 because you never corrected them the whole way up. So in this sense, instead of, a kid getting that math 5 + 1 wrong, like 5 + 1 is 6, but you got it wrong because you said it's 27. Instead of doing that, they purposely saying, look, what's 5 + 1? And then the kid write down 6 and you tell them, no, that ain't right. The answer is 27. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, well, 5 + 1 more is 6. No, the answer is 27. They setting you up so when you get older in life, you keep making that same mistake. All right. So people are like, yo, why is this grown ass man keep saying 5 + 1 is 27? Like, this guy's just off. That's because that's how he was trained. This is the same thing that these so-called Edomites, or they are the Edomites, these so-called white people who are the devil. All right. This is what they got in mind for you people. All right. All right. First Maccabees 1:48, that they should leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanliness and profanation, to the end that they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. All right. So, oh, that's the so-called white man's book, the white man's religion. He made that up. Well, why is it in the so-called white man's book is telling you about the so-called white man being wicked, doing evil, coming upon a different race of people that's not, you know, a different group of people that's not the same people, all right, and keep doing all these atrocious things to these people, taking away their religion and setting them up with a bullshit ass religion. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to worship the Most High. All right, you're not supposed to bow down to no idols or nothing like that, right? That's in the law, statutes, commandments. Esau then came around and, let's say hypothetically, then gave you a goddamn a stone fish to worship. Like, wait a minute, you're supposed to be worshiping the Most High, let alone you worshiping the image of a fish, and then that you worshiping a stone. You see what I'm saying? But for Esau to raise us up like that, knowing good and goddamn well, like the scriptures say, it's not the Most High can't hear you, that he can't save you, or his ear is heavy, he can't hear you, or his arm is short, that he can't save you, but that your sins have separated you from the Most High. All right. And Esau knows this. As long as he can keep you going off, you know what I'm saying? That's how he keep you defeated. All right. So it says, First Maccabees 1:49, to the end that they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. So he was putting people to death if they wasn't over here converting over to their new religion. In the selfsame manner wrote he to his whole kingdom and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city. Then many of the people who were gathered unto them, to wit everyone that forsook the law, and so they committed evils in the land, and drove the Israelites into secret places, even wheresoever they could flee for succor. Now in the 15th day in the let me skip that one. Verse 56. And when they had rent in pieces the book of the law, which they found, and they burnt them with fire. All right. So they was basically going through, the streets looking for whoever had the Bibles left, you know, modern days, they would call it a Bible, but anybody who had the scriptures left on them, they said, and when they had rent in pieces the book of the law, which they found, they burnt them with fire. They took the Bibles and they burned them, ripped them up, burned them with fire. And whosoever was found with any of the book of the testament, or if any committed to the law, the king's commandment was that they should put him to death. All right. So not only was they going through house to house searching for people who had the scriptures, they was taking the scriptures, ripping them up and burning them all up. All right. So that don't sound like the white man's book. Why would he be trying to get rid of his own book that's supposed to be bigging him up? All right. So they would go through, take all the Bibles, rip them up, burn them up. Then they would go inside the house, whoever they found with them or whoever was keeping the commandments, and they would put them to death. All right. Thus they did by their authority unto the Israelites every month, to as many as were found in the city. So they was going through, you know, amongst the so-called white man was going amongst you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right. Mainly in this time, mainly just the Southern Kingdom. All right. Because the Northern Kingdom was already over here in Americas. But nevertheless, they was going around putting us to death if we was still following after the law, statutes, and commandments. All right. They did a forced so-called conversion into their religion. All right. So it says, verse 59. Now the 25th day of the month, they did sacrifice unto the idol altars, which was upon the altar of the Most High, at which time, according to the commandments, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised, and they hanged the infants about their necks and rifled their houses and slew that had circumcised them. Howbeit many in Israel were fully resolved and confirmed in themselves that they would not eat any unclean thing. Wherefore the rather to die, that they might not be defiled with meats, that they might not profane the holy covenant. So they died, and there was very great wrath upon Israel. So it was a real sad time for us at that point in time. It was either, look, just like in today's time, you either take the mark of the beast chip or you're going to get put to death. And that's another reason why the so-called white man is the devil. But in these times, it's like, look, if you want to be holding on to those scriptures and following after those laws, statutes, commandments, or if you want to serve the Most High, your ass getting put to death. All right. And then they would go inside the houses where the babies was, and they would kill the women who was so-called raising their kids up in righteousness. And then they would take the babies and hang them by their damn necks. All right. But nevertheless, you know, you see the damn wickedness of the so-called white man. Let me get one more scripture, or two more actually. We're gonna close out on these, because I read this already earlier, but I'm gonna touch back on it. Job 9:24. It says, "The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, wherein who is he?" All right. I just gave you an actual account of that happening, right? But fast forward to today, you see, like I said, who is the likeness and the image of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ? It's not an Arab, it's not a Chinese man, it's the so-called white man. All right. I'm gonna close out with this. First Maccabees chapter 3, verse 48. It says, now still talking about these damn heathen. All right, it says, and they laid open the book of the law, which is the scriptures, the Bible, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. All right, going back into that Job 9 and 24 and what we just read in Maccabees 1 and 47, 1 and 41 on down. All right, but nevertheless, this is the same thing. They said, First Maccabees 3 and 48, and laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. All right, so they go into the Bibles, like I said, Leonardo da Vinci and the other dude, they want to paint all these images, whitewashing them all. Like I said, look up the Russian icons. All right, look up the Black Madonna. You see what I'm saying? All these images was all, you know, of their rightful color of actual Israelites, but now they painted him to be an Edomite, the so-called white man, and plus he's calling himself the Jewish people, the people of the Lord, and things like this, and you know, and we just some savages or whatever, whatnot, you know. But nevertheless, the so-called white man came. One of the reasons he's a damn devil, he didn't came and took our religion from us, or so, you know, for lack of a better terms, took our religion from us, gave us his bullshit religion. All right, and not to say put us against the Most High, because we up under these curses, obviously. But some of the things that Esau Edom did, like they were saying here, you know what I'm saying? They go around. You want to raise your kids right or whatever, whatnot. They go through the house and kill you and hang your babies and shit like that. You know, we want to live nowadays and not eat pork, and you try to go eat some turkey or something like that, and it's got some kind of pork on it. You see what I'm saying? So Esau Edom is trying to go. Let me go back up to First Maccabees 1 and 4. Let me see, 49. 48 and 49. All right, and this is why they do all this. It says that they should leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanliness and profanation, to the end that they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. And this is why Esau Edom is the damn devil, man. He came and hijacked us, you know, for lack of a better terms, our religion, and gave us bullshit and just keeping us further and further away from the Most High, trying to keep us and rock us to sleep, all the way to the extent of putting us to death and trying to get rid of the scriptures. All right, but nevertheless, you know, like I said, this is one of the reasons why Esau Edom is the devil. All right. Now, Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying into the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahawah, Bahashim, Yahawashi, Bahashim, Rakha Quadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for your arcane pushing this truth and sincerity in the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong and shalom.